Hey, what is up, guys? Flex Media here, bringing you yet another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. Now, I mentioned I want to show this Piccolo off, and I mentioned that I wanted to show him off in Super Battle Road. Now, unfortunately for Piccolo, there is no Bond of Master and Disciple category stage of Super Battle Road. He's on very few categories, which is, certainly, I would say one of his drawbacks, right? You obviously want a card to have a ton of categories, but we have him here on the Super Class stage of Super Battle Road, and specifically we are on the Bond of Master and Disciple team, and this is a full Bond of Master and Disciple team to sort of maximize Piccolo. Obviously, we could have brought, any number of Hybrid Saiyans onto this team as well. And we do not, notably, we do not have a Trunks. And this way, Gohan will never transform. And he'll just always link up with Piccolo and always provide him support. So this video really is about him, but, I'll take any excuse to be able to run this Int Future Gohan, man. He's one of my favorite units to run. He's up there with the likes of, oh, nice dodge, by the way. That would have done very, very small amount of damage, though. But he's up there with the likes of, like, STR, Blue Kaioken Goku, the LR Go Bros, just in terms of how fun they are, right? So I really do enjoy using him, particularly if you get up against an Android category enemy. He's just insane, right? But the video is primarily not about Int Future Gohan. I mean, it is and it's not, right? It's really about Piccolo. So if you missed my Rainbow Showcase, number one, go ahead and go check that out. He actually, we did get a decent attack stat for him. And then, number two, like, I would just like to point out that he is a support unit, right? So he's providing 77% defense to the entire rotation, which I'm pretty sure is the most in the game. The second most in the game would be this Gowasu and Zamasu, right? So they are an extremely good support unit. They actually provide Ki as well, Ki and then 70% defense. So they're obviously really good. They also have a high chance to dodge. Like they're insane, right? In terms of support units, right? But Piccolo, he also gives himself Ki. And that's another thing that makes him really, really good is no matter what team, look at that, full Ki. I mean, before we even super attack. No matter what team you run him on, he's only on a few category teams. So he's on Worthy Rivals, Bond of Master and Disciple, and then he's on Namekians, of course. He is one of the few Namekians in the series, right? But no matter what team you run him on, he's always going to be able to super attack. Assuming you've got a lot of Bond of Master and Disciple allies around you. To be quite honest, this is completely where this unit is designed to be used. 1.71 is not bad, by the way. That is a 1 dupe Int Future Gohan, pre-transformation, of course. But the rest of his passive is actually based on how many Bond of Master and Disciple allies you have around you. So for every Bond of Master and Disciple category ally that you have, you're going to be getting, he's going to be getting 20% attack and then 1 Ki. So that essentially, like, he could be, himself obviously as an ally, right? So he's giving himself 77% defense, and he can get up to 140% attack. So, on top of the, I don't want to say he's got high stats or anything, but he's got decent stats. I think he's got around a 14,000 attack stat. So, I mean, he definitely hits at respectable numbers, right? I mean, I would say he hits in the realm of like a mid-tier Dokkan Fest exclusive, right? And maybe doesn't defend quite as well. But just remember that, like I mentioned earlier in the video, he is a support unit. So he's giving that defense to everyone. So it just makes him so valuable. And on this team, again, this video is centered around him. But obviously we got a lot of other powerful units that could benefit from his defense. The one specifically that I wanted to illustrate, we're going to see it in the next fight, but is indeed the Int Future Gohan. So essentially this dynamic they have, so they do share actually a pretty, a decent link in experienced fighters. I believe that is a 10% attack and defensive link, so that's, quite nice. They're both kind of defensive units as is. So just put them on the same rotation. They're very good. So in future, Gohan does this thing where, number one, you know, he's got like decent defense to begin with. And when he super attacks, he greatly raises his defense. So after he supers, he's very, very stout defensively. And on top of that, if you get him below 58% HP, then he's going to then have 58% damage reduction. So, you know, you give a unit, you know, 58% damage reduction, you know, and, you know, a bunch of defense, and then a bunch of defense from support units, he's not going to be able to take damage. So, I don't know. It was just, I thought it was like an interesting sort of dynamic that they have. But what I would say about Piccolo and most other support units, you know, unless you're doing something like no item runs or something like that on Super Battle Road, you know, you generally want to float support units, right? You want them to be able to buff the entire team, not just one specific unit on that rotation. But again, just to showcase Piccolo, he is good enough to run on rotation, you know, for super, you know, super class, Super Battle Road at least. Now, Extreme Super Battle Road on the JP side, I'm not so sure. But again, he would prove to be valuable, you know, as a support type unit, you know, just floating around the team. So I cannot stress the value of that number. 77% defense is huge. That's what a lot of units get just, you know, themselves. And then you tack on another 77%. They're just, you know, crazy, right? Crazy strong. So anyway, guys, as you can see, Fizz Piccolo, he's going to be doing just fine for himself. Now, this rotation is crazy with defense. We've got, obviously, the 77% from Piccolo, and then we've got the 70% from Zamasu and Gowasu. You know, and then again, you know, Gohan is going to be greatly raising his defense. We are not in that range yet where he's going to be getting that 58% damage reduction. But, you know, we will get there eventually, and I'll be able to highlight, you know, truly the whole point of this video is pretty much summed up in like a couple different rotations. It's just like it's just when you can find little combinations like this in the game, you can really just kind of cheese events, right? So like, for instance, you know, you find units, nice double super by Piccolo, by the way. You know, he's only greatly lowering defense, by the way. That's not a very, you know, great ability or anything. But he just took 20k from a type disadvantage normal attack. That's actually not too bad in Super Battle Road, if you guys have ever done Super Battle Road. But if you can find units, you know, like this, or little combinations to just kind of cheese events, I mean, look, we're able to get through this Super Battle Road, you know, quite easily. It really wasn't challenging at all, just because of that rotation, right? So, and then we've got this other rotation here. I guess we can talk about the other units on this team. But like, we've got the AGL Kaioken Goku, and then we've got the STR Blue Kaioken Goku as well. They just make like for an insane tandem, right? And in Super Battle Road, if you've got two units, you know, on the same rotation that can hit for like 2.5, 3, 3.5 million or higher, I mean, you're going to be doing really, really, you know, it's like you're doing something right. You know what I mean? So, you know, them getting all of these links and them being able to super very, very easily, you know, is really helpful. So, this AGL, look at that, 2.78, dude. That's really not bad. Now, keep in mind, if we had Piccolo floating around here, you know, them get a units like these Kaioken Gokus could really, really use that defense. I mean, to be quite honest. So there he just took 57k on a normal. Now, he has not built up any defense yet. That was his first time getting hit. So, you know, it's not really a fault of him. It's just, you know, the way his card is designed, right? So this rotation essentially sums up the whole point of this video. So I do want to pay special attention to it. So right now, Gohan both Gohans are about to greatly raise their defense. We are also in that range where they are getting damage reduction. So right now, you know, with Gohan doing that great raise on defense, he wouldn't take any damage, I think, even without Piccolo on rotation, or it'd be very, very little, like 20 or 30k maybe. But right here, so we just greatly raised this second Gohan, my Gohan's defense, right? and he's about to get super attacked by Auto Magetta, and we are about to take no damage. I mean, that is just a testament to how defensively strong they are, right? The in future Gohan and then that Piccolo, and you put them together, and you know, it's like, ooh, you know, look out. So, but you know, and again, so we go back to this other rotation with the Blue Kaioken. This is exactly what they need. They need defense. They're starving for defense because they're so offensively powerful. We're about to get a ginormous shot on this Auto Magetta, and then, you know, we'll be able to get the full heal. I probably could have stalled the Dokkan meter a little bit and gotten that Dokkan attack in the 3rd round, but I figured, what kind of challenge would that be? You know, I've beat Super Class, Super Battle Road, you know, 100 times, and, you know, it really does make it easier, right? In any category stage, you want to try to save that Dokkan attack for the very last fight. But again, I just wanted to showcase how defensively stout these guys are. Now, what we probably should have done here is float off Piccolo. But again, I'm highlighting him, so we kept him on rotation. But it's never going to be a bad idea to keep a type-advantaged unit on rotation, as we float Trunks off of rotation, I might add. And I'm not really worried about any of these units. Now, Trunks, I guess I could say I'm a little worried about him. You know, getting hit by Zamasu would hurt, and I do indeed pop an Icarus item here just to ensure our safety. This Zamasu and Rose, man, they can hit very, very hard. This is probably a lot of people's sticking point in this Super Battle Road stage. If you guys are indeed struggling, give this team a try. Remember that if you do not have in future Gohan, which if you were smart, you probably didn't summon on that banner because it was trash. You know, other than in future Gohan, you know, essentially you're like finding, you know, needle in a haystack, if you will, just trying to pull one unit off that banner. But anyway, if you don't have them, remember that we actually do have a Bond of Master and Disciple sub-leader in that Fizz Blue Goku that just sort of recently got his awakening. Yeah, good thing we popped the Nikki there for sure. We would have been taking mad damage, so... but just keep that in mind that you can run this team, and you can if you can find a friend, future Gohan, I think that'd be a really, really solid place for you to start. And then that Fizz Blue Goku, and by no means, you know, is he like a negative to your team. He's only going to be a positive. You know, he changes orbs. I mean, he stacks attack and defense, and actually he really becomes quite a, you know, kind of like a low-key healing unit, because if you get his defense high enough and you get him enough orbs, if you get lucky with the orb changing, you know, you're going to be, number one, you're going to be supering every time and stacking up that defense. Obviously, he's going to bode well in this last fight. Yeah, 2.43, there we go. Now he's starting to build up. So I think, did we finally fall below that threshold, and that's why? Did we fall below? Yeah, oh, we did for sure. So that's all right, though. Not a big deal. We ended up, you know, doing all right. We did have an Icarus active. We took quite a bit of damage, but that was type disadvantage, of course. You know, again, it just goes to show, you know, these Kaiokens, they need the defense, right? This would have been a really, really solid team if I would have just had, you know... I mentioned earlier that I thought that I did not bring Trunks on this team, and I'm just a big idiot. I completely overlooked it. My bad. But, you know, it didn't prove to be an issue because we didn't really go 4 turns or more on any of these fights. So, you know, future Gohan didn't even have a chance to, you know, to transform, right? So, and then what is the other stipulation? Is it, it's simply 58% HP, and then it's the 4th turn. So that, and then of course you got to have the Trunks on the team. So again, it didn't even really, you know, become an issue at all, right? So, you know, look at that. it's so crazy, man. That rotation's insanely strong. You know, most enemies aren't going to be able to do damage to you, you know, short of maybe Int UI Goku or something. I don't even think he'd be able to do damage, to be honest. That's so much extra defense and damage reduction. So, as we sort of, you know, wrap up this video, you know, just know that, you know, this team is really, really strong, right? I think I do use an item here, don't I? Yes? Please tell me I use an item. He is sealed, but still. You know, and we're not at any risk of taking damage, except there on the end, of course, you know. that would be rough, right, on STR, Kaioken Goku. But this team is just full of good units, so when In Future Gohan comes back around, I would highly recommend picking up a copy with coins. He's like the perfect candidate. Same thing with this, like this AGL Bardock. You know, it kind of was like a tough pill to swallow not being able to pull him after so many stones, but, you know, just kind of is what it is. He's going to be a perfect unit to pick up with coins. Again, if you were smart and you didn't summon on In Future Gohan and you did not summon on AGL Bardock, you know, because their banners were bad. That was the problem, right? Is like outside of AGL Bardock, outside of, you know, Tech Raditz is insane for Super Battle Road. And then the Gobros, the rest of the banner is just like, yuck. Like, get out of here. It's got, like, Super Saiyan 3 Bardock, which, I mean, that was pretty predictable. But then it's got Pod Frieza, who's good, but, you know, he's been on a zillion banners. And then, of course, it had SS3 Goku, the AGL SS3 Goku. You know, it was not worth summoning. But those two units in particular are just like such solid candidates, right, for when they come back on the next banner. That's going to be the best place to pick them up, depending on what the banner is, of course. But I would just recommend getting them with coins, because a unit like In Future Gohan, I did manage to pull one. I wish I could have pulled two. I mean, obviously, like, you always want to pull more than one, but you know, he needs to be able to do additionals to really start to rack up the damage. And then, of course, like, you want every unit to be able to do crits, of course, you know. And then what I decided to do here is just to have a little fun and then do this Spirit Sword. So obviously we didn't really need to do that. And then, as I recall, the orb changing was kind of shitty as well. So, you know, I think I only ended up getting one orb. Yeah, as you can, so let's see. Oh, wow, 3 orbs changed. So I got insanely unlucky there. But in the end, I just wanted to see that really clean KO screen, you know, so. And then there we go. We're able to link up, and obviously rotations be damned at this point. I need to get better about, you know, not being so adamant about keeping my rotations. You know, you do need to have a little bit of flexibility on your team at certain points. So you want units with like key links, you know. And then there we go, that beautiful KO screen. I absolutely love it. One of the underrated parts of that card is that sick KO screen, right? So, but that was the video, guys. You know, there's only so much we could kind of go over about Piccolo. I know I went on a couple of random tangents there, but if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and slap a like on it. As you can see, it really wasn't too hard. We used 4 items. I probably didn't even need to use all 4, but consider subscribing if you're new. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Later.